Hey, hey. Hey, hey, and welcome. This practice that you're joining me for, I kind of went back and forth. Not that you need to know the inner workings of your yoga instructor videotaping things. Um, but in some cases, you can be like, oh, that makes sense. I had a hard time thinking, like, just tape a yoga nidra, okay? Um, give them some gentle movement, do a little, just a short practice, because the thought of just doing the meditation part, I don't know, I couldn't wrap my head around it, right? But it is a practice. Yoga Nidra by itself is a practice. So it's funny what the crap we put on stuff. So yes, this class is solely Yoga Nidra. If you feel like you need to do a little 15-minute practice, or maybe you just need to stretch a little bit before you do it, or you're like, no, that's what I want, and then you go to settle down and you're like, oh dear God, I'm not in a place to be still for 30 minutes. That's that's a big portion of why this is so beautiful. Change things, pause, stop, return, whatever, as many times as you need to. Okay. This Yoga Nidra is taken from Swami Satyananda Saraswati. This is the book that when I did training for Yoga Nidra was referred to the majority of the time, and they're the guided practices that I've found most impactful. Of course, I'm going to add my Ashley flair to it, okay? But so you are aware, if you see me looking down a lot, hopefully you won't be looking at me the whole time you do this, but if you do, I will be taking a lot of direction from his book, his writings. That said, me sitting down for this, Yoga Nidra is usually practiced lying on our back, okay? A blanket, a bolster, or any alternative that would be a great stand-in. Sometimes blocks, okay? Sometimes I'm just kind of pointing out all the tools. I didn't grab an eye pillow, but I'm in my studio. We have a lot. I just honestly, between you and I forgot. But an eye pillow can be helpful. A little washcloth or something to put across the eyes. If you're able to practice in a darkened room, that's pretty, I usually prefer that. Essential oils for me, they are another tool that helps ground me, or at least kind of get me into a more meditative state. Most folks who know me, clients, would not disagree. I'll say that I am pretty squirrely. So I can use every little tool I can get my hands on, okay? Other than that, your job, or what you absolutely need to practice this, is you need to find a space where you can remain uninterrupted, feel safe, and feel comfortable, okay? It doesn't need to be on a yoga mat. Let's be honest again, okay? The majority of the time, when I am practicing Yoga Nidra, and I'll put in parentheses, most of the people that do this on their own, okay? We do it in bed, and we set ourselves up in a way that should we fall asleep, we're good to go. Oftentimes when I do this is not the point of the practice. This is still a concentration practice. I know that I'm going to bed, and this is a wonderful intro into sleep. Do you, as always, do you. So set yourself up, okay? Again, this will last approximately 30 minutes or so, okay? If you've practiced with me in person or just ever before in any way, shape, or form, I want it to be accessible. So I don't want this to be so esoteric or so out of reach that it feels like, offering you asana or a yoga pose that leaves you feeling, well, my body can't do that. We can all do this. Um, I hope that I'm able to guide you in a way that it's most accessible. Okay? I would encourage you, as you do set yourself up, okay, as you settle in, to take a few big, deep breaths that you can hear. This is going to sound a little annoying, but I'm going to show you just an example of one if I was directed to do this. It's like this. Did you notice that was like, there was a big old sigh in there? Try that a few times, maybe just once. If you're not comfortable closing down the eyes, here's where I invite you to soften your gaze, lower the gaze. You need to orient and establish that your space is in fact safe. Look around. Name a couple things. Bring a couple things into your field of awareness, sight-wise, that provide evidence that you are safe. And let's begin. Now really is the time, okay, for my last formal invitation for you to make any adjustments, okay, that you can or should make to provide positioning that will lead you, keep you in the most stillness. That means a little wiggle here or there, a big stretch, knees to chest. You need an extra prop. Take care of that. Take care of you. For the next, like I said, 30 minutes or so, I'm going to ask that you set down problems, worries, plans, the this and that. And we're just here to focus on this work. Feel free to take another long, deep breath. Perhaps as you breathe out here, feel that physical sensation of letting it go. Start becoming aware of any sounds around you. I usually say easy sounds. My voice, any sounds just in the room, any gurgly belly sounds or the breath. And you only want to open up your field of awareness as far as hearing goes, to where you're just taking it outward enough to notice some more fairly obvious things. In the room right now for me, I hear the buzzing of the fridge. It comes and it goes. I hear the building shifting. But then as I step back and I allow for more to come in, I now hear kids outside playing at the daycare across the street. I hear a train. You see? So do that with sounds. Once again, becoming aware of your breathing. Just be conscious that you're breathing, right? You're just aware. You don't need to laser focus in on it. Awareness of breath, awareness of body. Remember your purpose here, and maybe say this silently to yourself. I'm going to practice Yoga Nidra. I will remain awake, and I will be here while I am here. If you come in and out of conscious hearing or just consciousness in general, doesn't mean you did it wrong. I always say it means that your body probably desperately needed rest, and you're showing it that love and care. Now I'm going to invite you to state your resolve. Okay? We call this our sankalpa. The way I would describe this is it's a little bit like an intention, a little bit like an affirmation, a little bit like a prayer, a wish, a hope. But what we do is we sort of transform or convert this desire or want for ourselves into a present moment sort of matter of a fact statement. The example that's often used is, say you want to feel some peace. You know, goodness, for 5 minutes of this, I just want to feel some peace. My resolve is not, oh, I pray, I hope to feel peace. It is a confident, emphatic, I am peaceful, or I am peace, or I know peace. This is what I mean by establishing a resolve. So take a moment and notice what sort of emerges naturally. If you feel the necessity, you're welcome to pause the video, come up with yours or let it find you, right? And then move forward. That's what we're looking to be made known here. Once we establish our sankalpa, this resolve, we want to state it silently to ourselves 3 times. 3 times. With full awareness and feeling. Now we're going to move into what we call the rotation of consciousness, or a body scan. Just kind of bringing awareness to different parts of the body via a little trip through it. I sort of accidentally made the analogy or kind of used the metaphor of a magic school bus. You know, you can just kind of picture them all just taking a ride through the body. You're welcome to use that, especially if you tend to get, self-conscious in a not helpful way, or distracted easily, or feelings of I don't have access to that, or I don't deserve that. You can always bring up that school bus. You want to let your mind jump freely from one part to the next. Try not to get too attached. If you do, notice that. That counts. So here we go. Noticing a breath. Noticing 3 things that immediately make themselves known about your body and space. It could be chilly fingers, sore left knee, locked jaw. It can be whole torso heavy, held, a little sore. It can be pants, shirt, jewelry. First 3 things that make themselves known. And then say to yourself, whole body complete. So we start this way and we end this way. Whole body complete. I'd like you to bring your attention first to the very top of your head. Whatever you notice about having a top of the head. Hair, lack thereof, space around it, tingling, whatever. Maybe you're wearing a hat right now. And then gently, without changing anything, without touching it, without moving a muscle to the best of your ability, let your attention settle now at the forehead, all over the forehead, the skin, right? Just from, I would say, like temple to temple, the scalp area, hairline, just the whole thing, until finally your attention just kind of just kind of releases or sinks down towards the eyebrows and the area between the eyebrows, and then hold there for a sec. Does this space need loosening or softening? Can you provide it? Notice both eyes, the eyeballs, the eyelids, the eyelashes, where the eyelids meet, both eyes, always feeling, if you'd like, the invitation to name or label these things. Eyes, eyeballs, eyelids. The outer corners of the eyes, again, the temples. Slope of the nose, right? The tip of the nose, temperature of the tip of the nose. Both nostrils. Just the right nostril. Just the left nostril. Again, both nostrils. Breath entering and exiting the nostrils. That little space, right, between nostrils and the top of your top lip. Notice the top lip and the bottom lip, whether lips are touching or parted. Don't change anything. Don't feel that you need to. Just notice. Scanning across the cheeks, right? The skin, temperature, cheekbones, right? Until you kind of just let it all, by all I mean attention, just kind of drain down towards the chin, scanning across the chin. Now we notice the whole jaw. I don't know if you can hear that, but I really needed to welcome in a little bit of unhinging, and I needed a little bit of movement first. Feel free here, right, to notice if you are locked at the jaw. Could you loosen? Go inside the mouth, even if it seems silly. Exploring everything about an inside of the mouth, you notice. Anything that I don't mention, but definitely tongue, teeth, gums, below the tongue, roof of the mouth, the inner cheeks. Imagining, right, the inside of your mouth as just sensation. It's just pulsing with aliveness. It might even, right, I don't know, be glowing. Finally, establishing whole face, mouth, inside of the mouth, and then I guide my attention to both ears. Notice everything you notice about having ears right now. I'm talking the wrinkles, the folds, the backs of the ears, the temperature of the ears. If you're wearing earrings, the ear lobes, until finally you do your best to bring attention to those inner ear canals. I like to kind of travel inside the inner ear canals, following sound entering via my ears. I really try to still the body even more. And I laser focus on that sensation, just listening. What does it feel like inside the ears? Notice all the hair, right? The back of the head, again, or lack thereof. Hair at the sides of the head, whole head. The weight of the head. Maybe you say to yourself, whole head. Scan the sides of the neck, the front of the neck. Imagining the throat, maybe take a swallow. Back of the neck. Length, anything touching against the neck. Temperature of the neck, the feel of the skin. Notice the tops of the shoulders. the shoulder blades, the area between the shoulder blades. Try to hold the whole upper back in your field of awareness, really honing in on it, right? Are we holding or gripping anywhere? We release down, back. I then go back to the tops of the shoulders, kind of traveling just a little bit nearer to the chest and the collarbone area. But then I once again let my attention just kind of trickle down to my armpits. Notice the armpits, shoulder sockets, sides of the body. Feel free to take a little journey from the armpits all the way down, right, to the outer hips. If you notice any fabric or pressure or temperature, just get super curious about that little journey all along the sides of the body. I sneak now to the back, and I want to hang out kind of at the back ribs, right? Mid-spine, lumbar spine. Perhaps noticing how breath is affecting, right? Any sensation at the mid-back, low back. And then I just kind of imagine my attention crawling back to the front of my torso. And I imagine sort of a, I don't know, like a gentle, warm hugging at the belly, where I scan all over the belly. Low abdominals, the belly button, navel region, right above, until I make it kind of nearer to the front and side ribs, right? I kind of travel up across the breastbone area. And then I do like to take just a tiny moment, right, to focus in on the heart space, on the heart in particular. If you can sense into it, and maybe, right, you can feel heart beating. Whole torso, whole torso, alive, heart beating, right? The blood circulating, these sensations. And then I come back to those shoulder sockets. In my own time, I scan down the length of both arms. I note upper arms, anything I might detect as far as sensation goes. My elbows, my forearms, my wrists, until I finally deposit every last drop of awareness into my hands. Still, limp, loose, held hands. I notice the temperature of the hands. I notice the fingertips, the fingernails. How many fingernails can you notice right now? Just via sensation. The spaces between my fingers, the palms of my hands, the backs of my hands, the weight of my hands. I like to go inside the hands. Any tingling, pulsing, vibrating. Just hands. When I'm done exploring the hands, I like to imagine all that attention, all that awareness just sort of floating out through my fingertips. And I allow it to settle low abdominals closer to the pelvis, closer to the hips. And I explore, right, the pelvis area, the genitals, the pelvic floor, my seat, right, the sits bones, both cheeks, right, any softness or soreness or tingling, the weight, pressure, lack thereof, my tailbone or my root. I become acutely aware of all of those areas until I finally come back to the hip bones. I really, really try to kind of imagine what they look like. I didn't always do it that way, but I like to really imagine the bone, right? And then I want to think about hip sockets, and I want to think about traveling down the length of both legs, not trying to kind of wrap up, this is the rest of my body. And who knows, maybe you lack access to sensation somewhere, or just the legs in general. But here we just note, okay, how much of my legs can I notice? Upper legs, knees, backs of the knees, low legs, any differences in the right or the left side as far as temperature, sensation, weight, pressure, lightness, fabric of any materials touching against, on, or at the skin or at my legs, ankles, whether I'm wearing socks or the skin is exposed. How does the skin or the flesh of the ankles feel? If I need to take a pause, I do. Finally, I've made it to the feet. I imagine the same way I might pour myself a glass of something delicious, I'm pouring every last drop of awareness into my feet. And notice the soles of the feet, the toes, the toenails, the spaces between toes, which toes I sense most prominently. Tops of my feet, the skin, anything making contact, the weight of my feet, any tingling or pulsing or vibrating, in the feet. It's just all about feet, both feet, holding them in your field of awareness. Until finally I take a nice deep breath. I feel it coming in. I feel my body kind of expanding and rising. And as I go to exhale, I imagine all of that attention, right? It's going to float out through the tips of my toes, or perhaps through, right, the heels, right, into your floor or your bed. But now my attention, now my awareness is just kind of hovering over my body, okay? And it's the whole body has kind of come back into focus. That whole body complete, from the top of my head down to the very bottom, the feet. I am here. This is my body. I'm going to ask that you start bringing your attention to this inner space, right, behind the forehead, just kind of becoming aware of that area. Okay, forehead, maybe that area between the eyebrows. But as I develop my awareness of this space, I imagine, right, that this space extends as far as I could ever imagine seeing, as low or as high or as wide as I could ever see. Just become aware of the space. Being totally aware but not involved, observe it as if you're maybe watching a movie. What you see is a projection of your subconscious. If you see little patterns, flickering or of light, this is a projection of your own subconscious. This is simply the way your mind is manifesting in this moment. You maintain your awareness. Again, watch this space carefully for any colors or patterns that may emerge. There's no effort here, just this awareness of watching. Total awareness of observing with no involvement. Something takes your attention away from this little area here, right? Notice it, bring yourself back. If any thoughts start to come up, right? Be aware of them. See if you can gently let them go. Come back to this space. So So here's where we're going to play with visualization. If you like, take a deep breath. It can be audible, it can be deep, it can be a sigh, it can be quiet but full and complete. I want you to bring your attention, right? Gather it all up behind closed eyes, perhaps back to the eyebrow center. And I want you to try to bring to mind a golden door. Become aware of some big, solid golden door. Imagine yourself trying to open this door. Pull, pull, pull it open. Now you're on the other side of this door. And for some reason, you're now at the entrance of a dark cave. Try to visualize being in this dark cave. Deep within this cave, you can see from where you are a flaming light. Gently, right? Walk towards that light. Just trying to see what you can find. Within this light, the closer you get, you notice there's this small golden egg. It's very bright. Right? A small golden egg, as small as a mustard seed. Very small, but very bright. Intensify your visualization. See this golden egg within the flaming light, right? Perhaps these are symbols of yourself, your big self and your little self. As you look even closer, you notice something inscribed on this little egg. It's your sankalpa. In this moment, right, you bring back to mind, right, or maybe you don't have to remember as you look at your egg, the resolve you made at the beginning of our practice. Here's where, once again, 3 final times, you will repeat those same words with the same attitude, with that feeling of deep meaning and emphasis. 3 final times, you silently share that statement with yourself. And now we begin leaving this flaming light and the golden egg. We turn around, and it's time to pass back through the big golden door. You feel the weight of this door as you open it. You leave. Bring your awareness back to behind the eyes or that eyebrow center. Just becoming aware, right, of what you notice when you focus your attention on that dark space. And become aware of your breathing, wherever it is, however it is. Sometimes I need to invite it to slow down a little. Sometimes I need to invite it to sort of pick up intensity or become deeper. But as you develop your awareness of your breath, I want you to imagine in this moment all the walls, right? If you are in a room, in the area around you, whatever environment you're in, you envision, right? All the sides around you. Anything on walls that you can remember without looking. What the ceiling might look like. If you're outside, what the sky looks like. If you're in your car, what the ceiling of the car looks like. The floor or the ground. Whatever you remember, right, without moving, without peeking. Any doors or windows in the space that you're in. What is supporting you? A mat, a chair, a cushion, a bed, again, the seat of a car. Whatever it is, feel that support holding you. All the little spaces that you feel making contact with that supporting surface. And then remember maybe your outfit. Any blankets or props you're using, anything like that that's touching against you, a pillow, perhaps an eye pillow, what your hair and your face looks like right now, just imagining it. Becoming acutely aware of your physical body in the space where you are. Saying one final time, I am here. It is now. I am here. It is now. Notice how you feel. As always, you are welcome to stay where you are, exactly as you are. If you are ready, uh, when the moment strikes, you start to bring movement into the body in an organic, safe, usually gentle way. The wiggling of the fingers or the toes, the releasing the tongue from the roof of the mouth if it got stuck again, the opening and closing of the mouth, or releasing the head side to side like you're saying no. Perhaps a deeper breath, a stretch, a yoga pose. Maybe you just simply blink your eyes open and you orient to the space you're in. You look around and you name a few things. As you come out of this meditation, this yoga nidra, doing your best to not become sort of fixated or attached to how you feel, right? We still want to notice if there's any sense of okayness, relief, or rest. And all we do is notice that that is always there. How accessible it is what changes. Remembering that it's there is what's hard. But it's always there. Thank you for spending this time to practice a yoga nidra meditation with me. And until next time, namaste.